So we'll see the now security framework. Okay.
Okay.
Then after that, let's we see the node manager. Node manager. Then after that, let us we see virtual hosting. Very small concept, virtual hosting. Okay.
Okay.
Then how to recover the or how to reset the admin password whenever you lost. And version differences from 8.1 to
10.12C.
till 12C. So that is my plan now. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. See, what is the security framework generally? See, whenever the request is going to be reached safely and securely to the WebLogic server, so what kind of security parameters we need to be configured to protect the WebLogic server resources? So what are the WebLogic server resources like server, cluster, deployment, JDBC, JMS, and all those which we can call it as WebLogic server resources. How you are
Yeah.
going to be protecting those resources generally from unauthorized people. They are going to be accessing, right? Unauthorized people
Yes.
are how you are going to be protecting from them. So then, for that, which we may have the concept called realm. Did you notice or not in WebLogic admin console we have the security
Se-
realm
Security region. Yeah. Under security.
under the you know right, see, under the services we may have the security
Security region.
realm. I'm just clicking on the security realm. So what it is security realm generally? Security realm is nothing but it is a collection of all the system resources and security providers. In other words, it is realm is a container for the mechanisms including the users, groups, security role, security policies, and security providers. All those which are used to protect the WebLogic server resources, right? Such as
Yeah.
JDBC, JMS, deployment, server, and cluster. I'm getting some echoing. I'm echoing my voice, Mr. Praveen.
No, it's clear for me.
Okay, okay. All right.
Uh, is it okay for you? No,
Now,
I didn't. No, I am not getting any echo. Echo from echo.
from your
It's
side.
clear for me actually.
Okay, no problem. Security realm is nothing but what it is a container for the mechanisms and provides the security mechanisms like including the users, groups, security roles, security policies, and security providers which are used to protecting the WebLogic server resources. See, there could be a more than one security realm, but only one realm should be active at the same time. By default, which we may have the my realm. See here, my realm. This is the default security realm, which comes along with the WebLogic server installation. Clear?
Yeah.
So what is the
Yes.
architecture of the my realm generally? So this is architecture of the my realm in the sense realm. See, I told you it is a mechanisms. It is a container for mechanisms like default users, groups, security roles, security policies, and security data or security providers, security roles and policies which are used to protecting the WebLogic server resources, right?
Yeah.
So let us we see what are the security models which are available in the WebLogic server for the applications. Important interview question this is. Deployment descriptor, right? Only for J2EE. So DD. So generally what will happen, security related informations which we can able to configure in the deployment descriptor for the applications for the J2EE standard. Example, if it is a web application, web.xml and weblogic.xml. If it is the EZB, this one. If it is enterprise application.xml, weblogic-application.xml. Right? Developers will do.
Yeah.
So what it will do generally, it has providing the security for client requested URLs or EJB methods and custom roles. So generally what will happen, these custom roles which you can able to configure for the security realms that we'll able to see in the WebLogic server admin console how to configure. So these also which are going to be protecting the client requested URLs and EJB methods and custom roles and policies. See, custom roles and policies generally, this is also rules and as well as policies, custom rules and policies which you can able to configure in the administration console, configure for the security realm for protecting the client URLs and EJB methods in the application. So advanced generally by default is DD only. Advanced means generally what we can able to do, you can import the security data from deployment descriptor into the security provider, right? Security
Yeah.
provider database to provider. You can import that security data from deployment descriptor to security providers. So this is about the advanced. So here we have the total four security models. Let us we see. Click on my realm. So what are the security models by default? DD only. Deployment descriptors.
Seven descriptor. Yeah, yeah.
So it depends on the requirement in application what kind of security model is default which we can able to select here and click on save button for protecting the
Yeah.
client URLs and as well as EJB methods. So this is about
Excellent.
the security models. Then what is the role? Can you tell me? What is the role? Generally, somebody will ask you, what is your role in your project? Right?
Yeah.
So what is the role?
It's I am a deployment engineer
No,
as of now.
role I'm talking about. Role is nothing but generally what it is. It refers to the set of users, right, who are having the same permissions. Example, in your team, everybody have the same role, right?
Yeah.
That is what we can call it as role. Role is nothing but condition. You are a deployment engineer, right? Role is nothing but
Yes.
condition. Then what is the group? What is group?
Group is our team group name is
Now,
deployment delivery group.
group is nothing but what static membership, right? It is a static membership. Everybody maybe get under the same group, right? Rule is
Yes.
nothing but generally condition. Group as a static membership. Then how you can able
Yeah.
to configure the role? In other words, role is nothing but grants an identity to the user. Then how you can able to configure the role? Let us see later. Then what is the policy? Can you tell me what is the policy?
Policy.
See, policy is nothing but what condition which specifies, right? Which simplifies which user, group, or role can access the resources under a set of conditions. Okay, you are the
Okay.
generally whenever you want to apply the load. If you are an individual person, it is a different conditions. If you are if it is organization, it is a different, right? Policies,
Yeah.
policies which are going to be specifies which user, group, or roles can access the resources under set of conditions. So those policies will
Mm.
be which defines by the WebLogic server administrator how you are going to be configuring the policy and role and how it is
Roles.
going to be protecting those policies and roles about the WebLogic server for the WebLogic server resources. Let us will see first how you are going to be configuring. See,
Roles.
click on IBM domain. So click on the security. You have the roles and policies, right?
Yeah.
Click on roles. Click on new.
Okay.
Provide the role name, right? Select the role provider name. Click on OK. I have created the role, right? So you can add
Yeah.
role condition for what reason you are going to be configuring either it may be user or group. You can select the role. Okay.
Okay.
If does not have, you can add like this. Understood, right? Clear? Role condition. To
Yeah.
whom you are going to be creating the role, you can understand. You can assign to that. Similarly, like that, you can configure the policy also. Click on policies and click on add condition. I told you policy is which is based on the role, group, user, right? I'm just
Yeah.
selecting the role actually. Click on next, admin, and click on finish button. I have configured. This role is not available. Okay, just wait. I'm just going with user. Click on finish button. I have created one role, one policy, right?
Yeah.
See, authentication provider, one policy I created. Like that, see what is the role here, this policy? Admin role,
Admin role.
right? Like that, you can
Yeah.
create the policies and roles depends on the requirement. These are custom roles and custom policies. Whenever it required, you can configure. But how you are going to be
Yeah.
edit the default roles and default policies? So click on my realm, click on users, sorry, click on roles and policies. Okay. So these are all
Yeah.
the
Okay.
default roles generally. See, even for application also you can able to, there is no roles for the application right here.
Yeah.
So how you are going to be edit?
No roles.
No roles. If you want, you can. No, that is what I'm telling. Those are the default roles. Whenever it required, you can edit or you can modify the default roles and as well as the policies under the security realms. So by clicking on
Yeah.
the roles and policies, clear?
Yeah. Clear.
So how the role and policies which are going to be grants to the WebLogic server resources in right way. So these are generally users and groups generally. User may be a single or a set of organization or whatever it may be, right? So they're raising the request
Yes.
generally which is forwarded to the role statement. The role statement it has going to be checks about what is your role and whether you are having the ability to access the application or not. I mean, whatever you requested. If it is yes, it will forward to the security role. Security role generally what it is going to be doing, it checks about the identity or grants the user's identity. In the sense, what kind of role do you have? Admin or developer or data monitor? Based on that, it is going to be forwarded to the policy statement. See here to meet some under set of specified conditions you have to be meet under the policy statement. Okay, then it
Okay.
is going to be forwarding to the WebLogic server resources. Then it is going to be access the WebLogic server resources if it is completes. Else what will happen here only it is going to be protects the WebLogic server resources and cannot access. Example we'll see. These are the users, right? They are raising for accessing this application called benefits. And assume like that here it has going to be made some policy statement. If it, yes, it is going to be forwarding to the security role. And what kind of role here is having that employee. Then based on that, it is going to be forwarding to the policy, conditions. Here it needs to be met some of the policy statements to access the logic server resources, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
once it is done, then it is going to be allowed to access the logic server resources. Else, here only it is going to be protecting the logic server resources. Clear? Using the security
Yes.
role and security policies. Then I told you security role is nothing but it is an identity granted to a users or groups based on the specific condition. Security roles generally, that is what we have discussed, right? Security role. There are two types of security roles which are available. One is scoped roles, second one global roles, right? Scoped roles
Yeah.
means which we are defining to the specific application, only that specific application. Okay,
Okay.
that is
Okay.
what we can call it as scoped roles. Global roles means which are available by default, admin, all the global at domain level, admin, operator, deployer, monitor, app tester, all those are which we can call it as global roles. Scoped roles which is
Okay.
configured by the developer and global roles which is configured by the administrator.
Administration.
Right. Let us we have seen right how you are going to be editing the default roles and policies just now. Security
Yeah.
roles and security policies. And security policy, I told you already, it consists one or more policy conditions which specifies under which circumstances user or group or role, right, accessing those resources. Important entry
Yeah.
question. What are the default policies which are available in the WebLogic server? These are the default WebLogic server resources which we may have the default. policies. So we
Policies.
have the default policies. Clear?
Yeah.
Just now we have configured global role admin, right? Let's we
Yeah.
see
Yes, sir.
then what are the default global rules or groups which are available in the WebLogic server? Administrator, admin role, deployers only for deploying, operators only for operating, monitoring, which we have the only monitoring capability, and app testers, application testers, and cross-domain connectors, admin channel users. By default, anonymous user, okay? Anonymous group,
Okay.
right? All these groups are global roles which you can able to configure, which you can able to select while you are configuring the user. Let us we see what is the just that we'll able to see in a coming step. So what is the JAWS generally? Java Authentication and Authorization Service, JAWS. It is a security, it is a Java-based security framework which is going to be allows the following security, configurations like single sign-on by entering the username and password, so you can able to access the resources, right? Example, whenever you want to download the softwares, WebLogic and Java softwares from the Oracle, you are doing the single sign-on, right? That is what single
Yeah.
the notable a pluggable authentication module, and also JAWS it has going to be supports the users, groups, and roles. In this form, it has going to be supports the security for the WebLogic server resources. So, what are the real-time implementations generally we will be able to see here? What is the user? Then how you are going to be creating the user. Then what is the group, and how you are going to be creating the group. Then how you are going to be unlock the user whenever it locked, and what is the embedded LDAP and LDAP, then how we are going to be configuring those. Clear?
Okay. Yeah.
Let's we see what is the user generally. Generally, it may be end users, right? In other words, who are using the application, we can call it as users only, right? Any
Yes.
clients.
Yes. Yeah.
Group is nothing but
Yeah.
set of users, we can call it as group. Let's we see how we can able to create the user and create the group, right? Go to the admin console. See, expand the, click on the security realm, click on my realm, click on users and
Yeah.
groups, click on new,
Mm.
provide the user, domain user one, okay,
Yeah.
and just creating and click on OK. I created user, right? Demo user one
Yeah.
successfully,
Mother.
and it takes the
Okay.
default authenticator, right?
Yes.
Click on demo user. I need to be configure the global roles, right? See
Yeah.
whatever we have seen till now, all which are available, right?
Definitely. Yes.
I
Well.
can I can select monitoring purpose only for monitoring. Click on save button.
Okay.
I have created
Okay.
something. Click on log out.
Mm.
Right. Able to log in, right? Demo user.
Yeah. Mm.
So next what I need to do? I want to configure some servers or something like that. Is this available? Buttons?
No.
See, this is only for monitoring purpose.
Monitoring only just.
Yes. There is a
No new. No new. Mhm. New button will not be there because we can't access
no. There is no configurations.
configurations.
Cannot
Yes.
configure.
Yes.
You cannot configure any service.
Mm-hmm.
I just logged in again
Okay.
WebLogic user.
Mm.
This is about how we are going to be configuring the users and groups. The next, what is the user lockout generally? See, if you take any bank application, if anybody try to access by producing the invalid username and password, right? In other words,
Mm.
continuously if you type like some consecutive, some thresholds, the user is going to be locked out, right? For bank applications.
Yes. Yes.
Similarly, like that, user unlock the user means whenever you do or whenever you are hacking somebody, in that time they are going to be providing the combination of username and password, different combinations, various combinations. So continuously, if anybody can provide the username and password invalid, in other words, continuously for 5 times, if you produce the invalid login attempts, then such kind of users which are going to be locked. Understood?
Mm.
Then
Yes.
the default lockout
Five.
threshold is 5 times.
5 times or 3 times? Generally 3 times, no?
No,
Generally
this is
our
default. This is default value.
default.
You can change it
Okay.
according to your requirement. And 30 minutes,
Okay.
it is going to be locked out. How you can able to unlock such kind of users? Go to here, click on the IBM domain, click on security, unlock the user and provide the user and click on save. There is no right, there is no, it is not unlocked.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a-
Right. It is telling it is not unlocked, it is telling, right? Does not have the permissions. Right?
Mhm.
I didn't give you admin permission.
Yeah.
I'm just checking. The moment you provide here security and user lockout, there is going to be access generally.
Mhm.
Just wait, I just rewound this.
Okay. Security. Security services.
No, see, I'm just saving it.
Okay.
It needs to be get actually. It needs to get exception. I created just now the policies, right? That's why it is giving some problem.
Mhm.
It is telling does not have the permissions to unlock the test user. That is only the error. It is not mistake. Okay?
Mhm. Okay.
I'm just copying. You think like that this is exception. It is not exception. See?
Okay.
Able to see?
Yeah. Does not have no.
You can tell this is also an exception, okay?
Okay.
Okay, issue, one issue. This is a issue. This I'll send this issue to you also, okay?
No.
How should be administered like asking this going on? So while I'm creating the policy, I just give the WebLogic user actually, based on the user I created, right? Policy that it has replacing with default one that is. While I'm creating the policy, I gave you a WebLogic user, right?
Yeah.
That is the reason it has replacing with that. This.
Again.
So generally it won't get any error. That is not error. Why it is showing actually? See that keeps it. The lockout threshold 5 times right here. You can change it according to the
Yeah.
requirement, and the time also 30 minutes. You can change according to the requirement. I'm just showing that one. See, hello.
User successfully unlocked.
So that is about in this way you can able to unlock the user. Understood?
Yes. Yeah.
See, after unlocking the user, then now you can able to change the threshold generally. You can able to change the threshold about the time and as well as threshold times. By default, it would be 5 times, right? You can make it.
Yes.
You can change it according to the requirement. You can make the changes according to the requirement. Either it may be 2 times or 3 times, and even time also 30 minutes too. So change it. Change it according to the requirement and click on save button. This is how we are going to be
So,
change the default values for the user logout. Then next one is what is the embedded LDAP generally? Okay, what is the
okay.
embedded LDAP? It's an important interview question generally. See, whenever see users are going to be creating here, right? So
Yeah.
generally, whenever you are creating the users, we need to be authenticate those users, right? While they are going to be accessing.
Yeah.
See, if you take the big application like big enterprises, it is not like that in WebLogic server cannot store all users. Not only you can store in the WebLogic server all the users, which we may have generally by default while you are installing the WebLogic server, which we can able to get embedded LDAP server for authenticating the users and groups and authorization information which are going to be stored in the embedded LDAP server. By default, it has going to be authenticates 1,000 users. Okay, 1,000 users only embedded LDAP server. And if you go to the external LDAP server, right?
Yeah.
So 10,000 users it has going to be allows. And if you take the big organizations generally, we will go with the third party LDAP servers for authenticating the users. Clear?
Okay. Yeah.
Embedded LDAP server is nothing but in WebLogic server by default which you can able to get like users, groups, and authorization information which is going to be stored in the embedded LDAP server for authenticating purpose. Then these are the parameters generally which you can able to change according to the requirement and while the user is going to be login in the form of username and password which is going to be verifies. Okay, these values generally while you are logging it is going to be verifies and allow authenticates that user. And similarly like that which we have the embedded LDAP server also, right? LDAP
Yeah.
authenticator. See, generally, instead of storing outside of the WebLogic server, so what will happen? WebLogic server provides the feature called authentication providers. Understood? Authentication
Yeah.
providers. In that, which we may, this is default authenticator means by default which will get no need to be installed. Okay. So then you may have the
Okay.
authentication providers. It provides the authentication providers. In that you will get the LDAP authenticator. Then number of authenticator you will be able to get depends on the requirement which you can able to configure the authenticators. Okay, LDAP is nothing but it is a lightweight direct accessing protocol. So which is used to similarly like that LDAP only, but more users it has going to be authenticates like 10,000 users. Understood?
Mm. Yeah.
Then let us we see how we are going to be configuring the embedded LDAP. Click on the IBM domain, click on security,
Okay.
and click on embedded LDAP. Able to see here embedded LDAP? By default,
Yeah.
it has going to take the administrator password for authenticating the users. These are all the parameters which you
Mm.
can able to change according to the requirement and click on the save. At the time of login to that, admin console, it has going to be, authenticates such users. Clear?
Yeah.
So these generally which are going to store into the embedded LDAP server. So after 10,000, if it is a big enterprise, it is not useful, right? So for
Yes.
that reason, which we may have the security providers. Click on the security realm, click on my realm. We have seen users and groups, right? Roles and policies we have seen. And click on the
Yeah.
migration generally. Whenever you want to, migrate the security providers data from here to other target environment, you can export and from outside to inside whenever you want to import, you can import the security providers data by clicking on the migration tab. Clear? Then
Yeah.
after that, user lockout we have seen. In the performance does not have anything here. Then we have only one thing, security providers pending. So click on the security providers. So it may have all these modules to protecting the WebLogic server resources. Understood clearly?
Yeah.
The first one is what? Authentication provider. What it is?
Authentication
Authentication
code.
provider. So what is the authentication provider? So generally by default, which we may have the default authenticator. When you click on the default authenticator, based on this control tags, it is going to be providing the authentication like requested, requisite, and also sufficient and
Sufficient.
optional. This is the sequence which uses the authentication provider. So provider specific, all these parameters generally which you need to be provided here, login attempts, maximum password length, all these details, okay? Wait.
Okay.
8 characters maximum password length. Like that, all the details. This is the default one, right? So what I need to do, so
Yes.
instead of going with the default one, I will be able to go with the third party one, right? That's what for embedded LDAP server. It has going to be authenticate default one. Similarly, like that, I will
Okay.
go with the third party one, right? So click on new. So generally, select the certificate name, in the sense authentication provider name. So what is the authentication provider? Interview question generally. So it allows the WebLogic server to establish the trust by validating the user. How to configure? Click on see interview question. What are the authentication types which are going to be which is supporting by the WebLogic server? All these are the different authentication
But
providers.
we have to remember all these things little bit, 4 or 5.
We need to be tell. Actually, they are going to be asking what are the authentication types which are going to be supporting by the WebLogic server. See,
Okay.
default is default authenticator, like embedded LDAP authenticator, like different. We need to be remember. We need to be write all in paper, and before you are going to interview, you can practice it because you need to be tell. Then only they can believe you are configuring the LDAP different authenticators. Okay.
Yeah.
Default one is SAML identity authenticator, and like that you can configure the embedded LDAP also. And click on OK. I have configured the authenticate default authentication, right? SAML 2.0 identity etc. Right?
Yeah.
So then what is the password validation? This feature was introduced after WebLogic server, 11G onwards. Before it wasn't there to verify generally what it is to validate the or to manage and enforce a set of configurable password compositions.
Mm.
So how you can able to configure? By default, it was there already one. If you want, you can configure. Click on new and provide the name and select the system password validator and click on OK. It is very similarly like that default one. And authorization provider generally. Authorization provider, it has going to be control access to the WebLogic server resources based on the identity or any other information. Example, see, you are the deployment engineer and you cannot able to do other roles, right? Based on your role only
Yes.
you can do the activities.
Yes.
Similarly, like
Yes.
that, even server side also, based on the rule only, which you can able to, allow access the resources. Similarly, like that, even in WebLogic also, authorization
Okay.
provider controls access to the WebLogic server resources based on the user identity or any other information. Click on new. That is default one actually. Select the name. There are
Default
two.
authorizer.
Yes, there are two authorizers was there. Default authorizer, XACML authorizer. You select the default one only. Click on
Mm.
OK.
Mm.
And adjudication provider. See, sometimes generally what will happen, you know, there are one or more, authorizations was there for the same user, right?
Mm.
So
Mm.
that time what
Okay.
will happen? It may get, conflicts while it is authorizing,
Yes.
while it is taking up the
Yes.
authorization. That time what will happen? To resolving the authorization conflicts by weighing the each authorization provider's access, right? By that, what will happen? We can able to get the final result. So we always use the default adjudicator only for resolving the authorization conflicts. We never go with the different one by replacing with the old one. Okay, default way.
Okay.
And rule mapping generally, rule mapping provider which are going to be support the dynamic role associations, dynamically role associations by obtaining the computed set of security roles and granted to the requester for a given WebLogic server resources. Dynamic role associations, okay? Dynamically,
Okay.
it is going to be associate the role, so based on that. So that it would be possible by configuring the role mapping. Click on new, provide the name. These are the two role mappers which are available types. Select default one,
Mm.
click on OK. And next provider name itself contain auditing, and this is what it has
Auditing.
going to be doing, collects the information, stores and distribute the information about all the operating requests, right? Collect,
Yeah.
distributing, stores information about all the operating requests. We don't have any auditing provider here. Click on new, select the name, provide the name and select the default auditor and click on OK. Then very important one, credential mapping. Interview question, this is also, what is a credential mapping? See, by default which is created, did you notice or not? I showed you at the time of explaining about the directory structure in the security. See, default authenticator, role mapping, all these which is created by default for the default authenticator, right? So credential mapping
Yeah.
generally already there are default credential mapper for that also. And
Credential
whenever
map.
you want to create new credential mapper, which is allows WebLogic server to log into a remote system on behalf of a subject that has already been authenticated. Okay, click on
Yeah.
new, provide the name, and click on OK. And certification path and key store, just like how you are configuring the certifications at Linux level. Similarly, like that here also, certification path generally which are going to be validate the certifications by using the trusted certificate authority based checking. Then it was there already WebLogic certificate provider. If you want, you can configure new by selecting the certificate registry or WebLogic certificate path registry. Click on next
Mhm.
and click on finish button. This is default one generally.
Default.
Yes.
Certificate registry is that.
No, which is already there, WebLogic certificate path provider. If you want, you can configure different one also, which is also available. I mean, you can configure whenever required. Key store generally. Key store is a mechanism which is used to create and manage the files and stores private keys and trusted certificate authorities. Click on new, provide the name.
And in interviews, they can ask that in key stores, what is the default type? Like that also they will ask, no? Like
For
default key store.
authentication type, definitely ask. Authentication and authorization type.
Authorization. Okay, I'll remember.
And rest of the things may or may not. So
Okay.
auditing, but
Authentication.
for authentication type, definitely they are going to ask authentication and authorization type.
Okay. Sure.
These are the security providers which are used to protecting the WebLogic server resources. And most of the applications which are going to be enough with the default, security providers only. Whenever you are going with a third party, right? That time only
Yeah.
you need to be configured. Then else, no need to be configured. So these are the
Certification part.
all these, not only the certification part, all these security
Always.
parameters.
Mm-hmm. Third party authorities
Like
only, we have to configure all these
like
things. Yes.
LDAP, embedded LDAP,
LM.
which come along with the WebLogic server installation. If you are going with a different one, then we need to be configured. Like Oracle Internet Directory, there are different LDAP types, authentication types was there. WebLogic server
Yeah.
provides. It is going to be stored outside of those modules. Outside of the WebLogic server stores in that module.
Yeah.
So these are the parameters generally which you can able to configure at the WebLogic server level. Clear?
Yeah.
So after completing that, I'm just moving into the important one called Node Manager. It's an important concept, okay? Small one, but it's an
Okay.
important one. See, what is the Node Manager generally? Why we are configuring the Node Manager, and what are the types of versions we have in the Node Manager? Okay.
Okay.
See, a Node Manager is a WebLogic server utility, which is not depend on the which is not part of the domain, which is outside of the domain. You have to be understand. Which is not part of the domain, which is
Part of
outside
the
of the
domain.
domain, outside of the domain,
Okay. Mm.
which is completely, depend on the machine, not in domain. Depend on the machine.
Machine.
If you notice or not, I don't know. While you are configuring the domain, I think you are able to see mission also there.
Yeah,
Mission.
yeah, yeah. I noticed. Machine.
Yes, that mission which is useful for mission configuration, useful for the node manager configuration. So node
Mm.
manager is a WebLogic server utility which is used to start, restart, and shut down, admin, and manage server instances. Either it may be locally or remotely, automatically whenever those get fails. Automatically it has going to detect and restart those failed server instances by using the node manager. Understood? So node
Yeah.
manager is a tool generally which is used to start, shut down, restart, admin and manage server instances automatically whenever it get fails. Whenever servers are going to be failure. And also it is going to be collects the servers, servers logs data and monitor the servers. So what we can
Okay.
able to do by using the node manager, we can able to start, stop and restart, right? That process we
Yes.
will able to see. See, for starting the administration server using the node manager, So WLST we'll able to see in next class actually. So we can able to connect to the WLST, and there you can issue the command called start node manager. Then after that connect to the start the administration server. Before that you can start the node manager and issue the command call for starting the administration server through the node manager. Okay. Whenever you are starting the administration server through the node manager which is going to be asks, okay, username and password about the administration server for authenticating purpose, including the startup properties. Once it has done SSL handshake here, so by authenticating the username and password and by using the startup properties, it has going to be create a process for the administration server. Clear? Clear?
Yeah.
In the sense, administration server is running through the node manager. In the sense, whenever you run the admin server, obviously you are running that domain only, right? It has going to be
Yeah.
obtain the entire domain configuration. This is how you are going to be starting the administration server using the node manager. Similarly, like that, how to start the node manager using the manager server using the node manager. See, whenever you go to the administration console, click on the servers and click on the any one of the servers generally, click on control. What you have to do, go to down, click on start. So what it is going to bring, the machine which is not associated with it, right? There is no node manager configuration here. So whenever you configure the node manager, then only you can able to start from the administration console. Assume like that which you already configured. Go to the admin console, issue the command call for starting the manager server, start. Then it is going to be contact to the manager, node manager. Node manager is going to be contact to the administration server. Then administration server generally it is going to be provides the startup properties including the authentication details to the node manager. Once it is authenticated and by using the startup properties for the manager server, it is going to be creating the one process, then manager server is running. But there is no configuration in the manager server about the manager server. Okay. So
Yeah.
again,
But node manager has the admin server configuration, no?
no, first whenever you want to get the configurations regarding the manager server, no, we need to configure, then only it's possible.
Okay.
Without configuration, how it would be possible? That is the reason here you are getting the error in the admin console now.
Yeah. There are print configure node manager. Yeah.
Then whenever the manager server is started through the node manager does not have any configuration information, for that again contact to the administration server. Administration server which provides the configuration to the manager server which is going to be use that configuration information. Then how it is going to be restart the admin server using the node manager. See, whenever node manager decides to restart the administration server instance, initially it is going to look for the username and password for the remote server including the startup properties, right? Once it get all those
Yes.
properties from the remote, you know from the remote, or it is going to be obtained from the remote, then it is going to be restart by using those startup properties, and it does not have any problem. It is going to be create a one process for the node manager administration server by the node manager, and administration server is running after that, and it can obtain the entire domain configuration because which is persisted, right? Entire domain configuration in the domain.
Yeah. Yes.
Once admin server is started, then it is going to be obtaining entire domain configuration. Then after that, generally how you are going to be restarting a manager server from the administration console, generally what will happen, node manager is going to be tries to restart the manager server instance. It is going to be asked for the properties and as well as authentication purpose username and password from the administration server. So once it is provided by the administration server, node manager is going to be recreates the manager server instance. It creates one process and restarted. Then regarding the configuration again which contacts to the administration server, it obtains the manager server configuration from the admin, then which is running successfully, restarted successfully. Understood?
Successful. Yeah.
Then how it is going to be shutting down? From the admin console, click on the server and go to the control and click on shutdown. Okay? It cannot shut down directly. It can go to the node manager first request. Node manager asks for the administration server to shutting down properties. It provides. But where the server is running on the Linux server, right? So node manager
Yes.
is going to be contact to the operating system, and it will give to the manager server name. And by using that manager server name, it is going to be matches the process ID. And by using the kill command, it is going to be kills the manager server instance. Then after that, manager server is going to be stopped. There is no manager server
Start.
with the name of ms1,
This one.
right?
Yeah. That
So
will be done internally. Yeah.
yes, internally.
Okay.
So this why I am explaining this process means they are asking simply how node manager restarts the manager server. You want to explain
Yeah.
in the telephonic
I
or
need to
something like that?
get. Yeah. In the face to face, I need to draw the diagram and explain. Then only.
Yes, I mean you if they you even in telephonic also sometimes you cannot have the chance to draw, right?
Yes. You
And
have to explain.
you need to be explain all these things,
Mm.
right? So this is the main purpose of configuring the node manager. There are two types of node manager versions which are available in the WebLogic server, right?
Sure.
One is
Yeah.
Java based node manager, second one is script based node manager. What are those?
Java based and script based.
Java based and script
Java
based node manager.
script based.
So Java based node manager which runs within the Java virtual machine and runs in both Windows and Linux operating system, and script based node manager which runs only in Unix or Linux operating system.
Linux.
Whenever you're comparing this security wise, Java based node manager will provide the high security. So sometimes in the interview they will ask what is the difference between the Java based node manager and script based node manager. We always go with the Java based node manager only, right?
Yeah.
So let us we see then what are the important points about the node manager generally. Same thing only.
Mm.
So generally what will happen, each domain can outsource the job of monitoring and automatically restarting the failed WebLogic server instance to the node manager. I told you node manager it is not depend on the domain. It is depend on the
Domain, it is separate.
machine. That is the reason.
Machines.
So node manager is an external process. So more than one domain can use the node manager. But what will happen?
Yeah.
Node manager which is going to be registered with the logical name called, each domain which registered with the logical name called machine. So what is a machine? Machine is nothing but it's a computer name, or it's a computer name which is going to be host the WebLogic server instances. Understood?
Instances.
How you are
Yeah.
going to be configuring the machines? And just log into the administration console.
Okay.
So expand the environment node, click on the machines, click on new, provide the machine name. You can select machine name as it is, click on next and click on finish button. I have configured the machine, right? You
Yeah.
can
That is
configure
default 55556. Eh?
that you will get later.
Okay.
So this is about how you are going to be configuring the machine. Even you can configure the more than one machine also. Next, I need to be configure the node manager, Java based
Mm-hmm.
node manager. See, whenever I want to configure the Java based node manager, which I need to which I need to require the node manager dot properties file. So whenever you are configuring for first time, this file is not available. This file is not
Mm-hmm.
available. Okay,
Not available.
this file is not available. Then what I have to do? I need to be start the node manager, and
Yes.
I need to be start the node manager, and that file automatically it has going to be generates. That file
Okay.
automatically
Start from.
it has going to be
Yeah.
generates. Then later I need to be configure these properties. Go to here for starting the node manager /home/linux oracle.
IBM. IBM.
Under this path which have the script. See, this is called node manager home. Under this any file is available here.
No. Only dot domains. Eh?
So whenever you start the node manager, it is going to be creates
Mm-hmm.
automatically. See, in WebLogic server 11G does not have the shutdown script for the node manager. So we need to be
Okay.
get the process ID and kill it. But WebLogic server 12c onwards, which will have the shutdown script also.
Okay.
What is the default port number for the node manager? 5556.
5556.
See,
Now node manager dot properties has been created. Yeah.
go to here. Yes, it is created. See, VI node manager dot properties. Just open. See, if you are in a different network, you have to be provide the listen address also for the network.
Okay.
And the listen address, if you want, you can change. This is default one. Secure listener by default make it false. And stop script enabled by default false, you can make it true. Crash recovery enabled by default, it is false, you can make it true. Even start script enabled by default false, you can make it true. You have to be change all these 4 parameters. Okay, save.
Okay.
And log into the administration console. So click on the mission and click on the created mission. Okay,
Yeah.
click on node manager. So we have to be change type SSL to plain. And if you want to change the node manager port number, from here also you can able to change. Save.
Okay.
And click on servers. I need to be add servers to the node manager for starting. I added servers, right? 2 servers I added.
Yeah.
You click on the server, see here mission 1 and mission 2.
Mission. Yeah.
Then after that, I need to be check about the node manager statuses by clicking on the mission. Monitor. What it is node manager status?
Active. Inactive. Inactive.
In the sense which is not successfully configured.
Running.
Right?
Yeah.
So what I need to do before configuring that, click on admin server, click on SSL, go to the advanced. I have to change host name verifier, none. And you have to do for same thing for the managed servers also. Right, rebounds the server. Rebounds means stop and start the server. No need to use the pkill command. Okay?
Yeah.
In real time.
Pkill command. Huh?
No need to use pkill command. Pkill command means it is going to be kills all the Java process.
Okay.
How many servers it is running at the same time it is going to be killing. In real time we never use.
Okay.
Right. I need to be start the node manager also, right?
Yes.
It is started, right?
Yeah.
Plain socket is none.
Yes.
So now
Started on port.
go to the machines, click on machine, click on monitoring. See now,
Reachable.
clear?
Node manager is reachable. Yeah.
How I can able to test now? Earlier I got error, right?
Yeah.
You can able to test in 2 ways. One is using from the WLST, second one using from the admin console. This is a preferable method. So click on the server, which server you added to the node manager, and click on control. Go to down. Here click on start. See, this time you cannot get any error. You haven't get any error. Request has been sent to the node manager to start the selected server.
Servers.
So
Now MG3. Mm-hmm.
MG3,
MG3 starting now. Starting, yeah.
that only I added in the admin
Machine.
to the node manager.
Okay.
In this way, you can able to test. See, then after that, here I told you already for setting down the node manager, we don't have the script. We need to be get the node manager process ID and kill the node manager. So then after that, what I need to do by default, node manager logs, which is available WL server home common node manager directory with a name called node manager.log. I told you for testing the node manager configuration by starting the server instances, we can able to do in two methods. One is by using the WLST and second one by using the admin console. Preferable method means using the admin console. So generally, what are the commands which we'll be able to use in case of WLST generally? The first one, start node manager or start that admin console node manager. NM generally which determines whether the WLST is connected to the node manager or not. NM connect, you can connect WLST to the node manager, establish the session. And NM disconnects means you can disconnect, WLST from the node manager. NM start, you can start the servers. NM kill, you can kill the or shut down the servers using the node manager. This is a very important entry question. What is NM enroll? Enrolls the machine on which WLST currently running with node manager. Understood?
Yeah.
So that is important entry question. What is NM enroll? Then another important entry question. What are the important configuration files which are available in the WebLogic server node manager configuration? These are all the important node manager configurations. And what are the log files which are available? Node manager.log and node manager.out. Very important entry question. So what is the difference between the .log and the .out? Okay.
Okay.
See, .log generally which contains the every information about the server, but .out which contains the startup and shutdown and only deployment information. So .out file which is generated whenever you start the server using the node manager. Then otherwise there is no .out file, right? Whenever you start the
Yes.
server using the node manager, then only .out file generates. Else cannot. Which contains information about startup, shutdown, and deployment information only. Then let us we see what are the important configuration for each file. The first one node manager.properties file. So which is used for only the Java-based node manager, which is available under the node manager home. And node manager.host generally, which contain list of trusted hosts that can issue commands to the node manager. Node manager.domains generally, right? So
Yeah.
which contains the mapping between the names of domains managed by the node manager and their corresponding directories. NM and all these properties NM underscore available under the domain home node manager home. NM data underscore properties which stores the encryption data like symmetric encryption key under this file. NM underscore password dot properties file generally. It contains the password pair specific. Okay, password pair specific to
Okay.
the node manager. And boot dot properties file you know already, which is used for authentication purpose while starting a server.
Authentication also. Yeah.
Startup properties generally, which is used to use while starting the while starting the node manager to control how the node manager starts up and control the server. Node manager automatically creates this file while using those properties passed to the node manager. Then server name underscore ADDR. This file generally which contains the IP addresses which are added when server starts or migrated. Server underscore name dot LCK. This file generally which contains the server and contains an internal user lock ID. Every or each server which contains this lock ID, user lock ID. And server
Okay.
underscore name dot PID. So this file generally which contains all process ID of the servers, all the process IDs about the servers. Server underscore name dot
Servers.
state, which contains about the state of the server, which contains the current state. These are the important configuration files. Then node manager generally, which we may have some drawbacks generally. What are those drawbacks? The first point, node manager cannot have the monitoring, right? Cannot monitor the processes which are running from the Linux console. Understood? Node
Yeah.
manager cannot monitor the process or servers which are started from the Linux console, which is monitor only the processes which are started from the admin console or from the WLST. Understood?
Yeah.
That is one drawback. Second drawback, there is no backup server for the node manager. Whenever the node manager is going to be have some problem, in the sense it is going to be fails all the servers without any monitoring. That is second drawback. Third one,
All the servers, NM fails, all the servers
cannot have the
will be
monitoring.
with. Okay.
There is no backup for the node manager. And
Yeah.
node manager it controls with the physical box only. It cannot monitor the servers outside of the machine, only within the machine, within this machine only.
Yeah.
And example, generally, if your domain is going to be spread across three boxes, we need to be configure the three node managers. Understood? To monitor about all
Yes.
server instances in the domain. These are all about the restrictions or drawbacks of the node manager. See, by default, generally, node manager is going to be start or restarts automatically whenever the server is going to be gets while it is monitoring two times only. Understood? So go to this part. Under this, you may have that all the things, right? Go to the startup.properties.
Okay.
See, in this it is going to be shows. Restart how many maximum?
Two times.
Two times. Restart delay intervals, delay seconds, 0. Restart interval, 3600 seconds. Auto restart 2, right?
Yeah.
See, if auto killed property failed, by default it resets to the true, means node manager only starts and kill the node manager only. Always it should be a false only. Should be a
False.
false only. These are the properties generally which we can able to edit in the startup.properties file about the node manager. These properties will use while starting the node manager. Okay,
Okay.
right. So this is about the node manager and its configurations. Clear? What is the purpose of the node manager?
To start, stop, and to stop the manage servers.
No, to start. See, when while earlier also we are starting, right? Why are you using the node manager? See, Node Manager is a WebLogic server utility which is used to start, stop, and restart admin and managed server instances whenever those are going to be fail. Automatically, it will detect the failures and restart the server instances. That is first reason.
Okay.
Second reason, it is going to be collect the server's logs data and monitor those servers. Those two responsibilities will do by the node manager. Instead of the node manager, you will go with some third-party tools also for monitoring about all the server instances. Right?
Yeah.
So clear, right? Why we are using the node manager?
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I'm stopping here. Okay.
Okay.
Stopping here. Evening 5 o'clock we'll meet.
Yeah.
So
I completes node manager.
Yes.
You. Okay. Yeah. Can you send me the videos? It takes time so that I can again go through it.
Yes. We'll start at 5 o'clock. Okay. Again. If anything changes, I'll drop the message. Otherwise, I'll send message to you. Okay.
Okay.
Right. I'll forward the recordings to you also.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye.
Two recordings. No?
Yes.
Earlier one
Two. I'll forward two. Both I'll forward.